the letter ya and the letter kha and the letter jim and the letter ba and the letter noon. Every letter from these letters has a different articulation point. What are the articulation points and how many points do we have in Arabic? This will be known in this video. Are you ready? Let's start. Actually, in Arabic we have 5 articulation points, which are AlJaf and الحلق and اللسان and الشفتين and الخيشوم. We'll start by the first one, which was AlJaf. AlJaf means the empty space in the throat and mouth. If you open your mouth and took a breath, you will notice that there is empty space. And from this articulation point we have 3 letters, which are the letter waw and the letter alif and the letter ya. And every letter from these 3 letters has a condition. The letter waw should be preceded by dhamma to say, for example, boo. And the letter alif should be preceded by a fatha to say, for example, ta. The a sound that I am making is articulated from the empty space in the throat and mouth. And the letter ya should be preceded by a kasra. For example, we can say si. The e sound that I am making is articulated from AlJaf, or from the empty space in the throat and mouth. The second articulation point or points of pronunciation is al-halq, or the throat. The throat actually has 6 letters, which are al-hamza, al-ha, al-ayn, al-ghayn, al-ha, and al-kha. And the scholars actually divided the throat into 3 parts. We have the deepest part of the throat, then the middle of the throat, then the closest part of the throat. From the deepest part of the throat we are pronouncing 2 letters, which are al-hamza and al-ha. And from the middle of the throat we are pronouncing also 2 letters, which are al-ayn and al-ha. And from the closest part of the throat we are also pronouncing 2 letters, which are al-ghayn and al-kha. The third point which we are using in Arabic, which is al-shafatayn, or the 2 lips. And actually we have 4 letters that are pronounced from this point, which are al-ba, when we say, for example, ab, and al-mim, when we say am, and then al-fa, when we say, for example, af. We are using just the lower lip. And the last letter from the lips, which is al-waw. Actually, we have done the waw before from the empty space in the throat and mouth. But this waw is the waw that has a fatha before it. For example, the word khawf. Khawf. The waw in this word in khawf is done from the lips, not from the empty space in the throat and mouth. Then the fourth point that we are gonna to talk about, which is al-khayshum, or the nose. The nose actually isn't a separated articulation point. It is just a point which gives the characteristic of nasalization to other letters. So we are making just the nasalization from the nose. And actually the nasalization is done with only 2 letters. So don't use your nose during your reading for all the alphabet. No, we are using the nose to pronounce just 2 letters, the noon and mim. And actually the mim is done from the lips, but it takes its characteristic, which is the nasalization, from the nose. Actually, if you would like to know the articulation point without depending on any source, you can just add the letter alif before the word, or alif with fatha, then you can mention the letter. For example, if you would like to know the articulation point for the letter mim, we can say am. And for the point that your organs are stopped at is the articulation point for the letter. If we would like, for example, to know the articulation point for the letter kha, we will say, for example, akh, akh. here we have stopped at the closest part of the throat. So this is the articulation point for the letter. Now we will move to the most important point and the main articulation point, which is al-lisan, or the tongue. Before knowing the letters, which are 18 letters actually from the tongue, we'll divide the tongue into 4 main parts. We have the deepest part of the tongue, then we have the 2 edges or the edges of the tongue, then we have the tip or the top of the tongue, then we have the middle of the tongue. From the deepest part of the tongue, we are pronouncing 2 letters, which are al-qaf and al-kaf. Actually, the qaf is deeper than the kaf, so we are using the qaf with the deepest part of the tongue with the soft palate from the roof of the mouth, and the kaf also we are using the deepest part of the tongue but with the hard palate from the roof of the mouth. Then we'll move to the sides or the edges of the tongue. Actually, we have 2 letters from the edges of the tongue, which are the dad and the lam, and the dad actually is deeper than the lam. And to pronounce the letter dad, you have 3 options. You can pronounce it depending only on the right edge, to say for example ab, and you can pronounce it depending on the left edge, to say ab. And the easiest way to pronounce it by depending on both of them at the same time, to say ab. Then the lam actually is pronounced from the side of the tongue, from the front side of the tongue. Actually, many students pronounce it from the tip of the tongue, but the correct articulation point for it is from the front side of the tongue. Now we'll move to the middle of the tongue. The middle of the tongue actually has 3 letters, which are the jim, the sheen, and the ya. Actually, I have done the ya before from AlJaf, but this ya is the ya that has a fatha before it. For example, when we say bayt, bayt, the bay sound or the ya sound, which is in this word, is pronounced from the middle of the tongue. Now we'll move to the last point, which is the tip of the tongue. And actually we have 11 letters from this point. The first letter, which is the letter noon. Then we have the letter ra. After that we have the third group, which contains 3 letters, which are sin, sad, and zay. Sin, sad, and zay. And before passing this point, actually in this video I made a great exaggeration during the pronunciation of the sad, and actually I used my 2 lips. But actually here there is a mistake, and I should refer to it, that the correct pronunciation for the sad to depend only on the tip of the tongue and not using your lips. So the third group has 3 letters, which are sin, sad, and zay. The fourth group, which is ta, dal, and ta. Ta, dal, and ta. The fifth group actually, which contains the letters of the tip of the tongue with the teeth at the same time, which are the tha and the dhal and the dha. That's all for today, and actually before the end of the video I would like to thank every friend, everyone who shared my videos, like Sheikh Muhammad, Sheikh Abdul Ghani, Sheikh Tahir, Sheikh Yasin, and I would like to give all my greetings to everyone who gives me his fruitful comments, like Sheikh Mahmoud, Sheikh Muhammad, and we'll meet next episode. Thanks for watching. Salamun alaikum.